What's good? It's Russell King here, and today I'm going to be discussing my NXT review of the recent episode of NXT. Finna jump straight into it. Starts off with Sexy Red. They've been promoting this for about a week, probably 2 weeks. They're promoting Sexy Red. They've been promoting her eventually coming onto the show. She ends up coming onto the show. She was in a ring with Ava Rain. They cut a promo. Basically, Sexy Red ends up announcing that she will be the host of NXT Battleground that's coming up in 2 weeks, if I'm not mistaken. And then they end up having this little red like sheet or whatever over something revealing the NXT North American Women's Championship. And I'm gonna be honest, it looks beautiful. It looks better than the men's. They have the same design, but colors mean everything. The white design, the white strap works so much better with the colors than it does for the men with their like brown or like burgundy red type color. Now it still looks good. The men's title still looks good, but the white strap just looks so much better and so much cleaner though. But during this segment though, Sexy Red had the title in her hand. She had the NXT North American Women's Championship in her hand. Out of nowhere, you see Tana Baxley comes out of nowhere and she starts crawling on the ground like she does and tries to take the NXT North American Women's Championship away from Sexy Red. Sexy Red ain't having it. They're like fighting over the title. Michin comes out of nowhere and attacks Tana Baxley, which leads to a match. Not going to speak too much on the match, but Michin ends up picking up the victory here in the match. This is one of the last few matches, the last few qualifying matches to see who will be in the ladder match for the NXT North American Women's Championship at Battleground. I'm a little upset that Michin won only because I don't understand the end goal with Michin. Like, I understand the purpose of her being on NXT to give her more TV time and all, but I feel like there's still a ceiling because she's not going to win that championship, so I don't understand it personally. I feel like Tatum Paxley should be in this match personally. I don't understand why they stopped pushing Tatum Paxley because they gave her a huge push with the Lyra Valkyria stuff, but then stopped using her. I don't understand, especially since they end up doing that crazy like segment after she lost in I forgot what pay-per-view it was. It wasn't that long ago where she lost in that triple threat match and for the NXT title where she said that she wants the NXT title and she's obsessed with it. So I don't really understand why. Yeah, it was the triple threat match at Spring Breaking. That's what I'm thinking of. But yeah, I don't know why they stopped that storyline. They should continue that storyline, in my opinion. I don't know why they stopped that, but hopefully they continue to push Tatum Paxley because I don't know why they stopped pushing her for whatever reason. But Michin advance. Jada Parker was outside on the announcement, which didn't make sense because she didn't do anything. She didn't say anything on commentary really, and Michin and Jada Parker had a little moment, but it wasn't nothing too crazy to really rave home about. So I don't know why they had Jada Parker out there. Next, we get a quick segment with Gallus and Metaphor. Gallus was talking about, I forgot exactly what they were talking about. Metaphor with Oro, Jakara Jade, and Lash Legend approached him, basically asked him, did they attack Noam Dar? Gallus didn't say anything. They didn't say they did attack him, but they didn't deny the allegations either. So they're still playing the story of who attacked Noam Dar, leaving up in the air who attacked Noam Dar. Next, we get a quick segment with Lola Vice and Ariana Grace. This segment, goes the typical Ariana Grace segment where Ariana Grace is being this, polite, sweet woman who's trying to look for the best interest in the women's division, who's trying to stop the violence and prevent fights from happening. Because Lola Vice is trying to have a fight with Shayna Baszler. Ariana Grace basically starts mentioning how dangerous Shayna Baszler is and how it's dangerous to fight her. Lola Vice gets offended and ends up basically saying we're going to have a match to prove how dangerous she is. Now, going to be honest here, I like Shawn Michaels as a booker, but this was very lazy booking. This was very lazy and it didn't make sense. It didn't really make sense for Lola Vice to really pick a fight with Ariana Grace. I get what they wanted to do because after what happened after their match, it makes sense, but you could have done a better job in picking a fight with these two. This was just super lazy in my opinion, but I love Ariana Grace. She was great, but this was very lazy in my opinion. Next, we get Ridge Holland versus Riley Osborne. This is progressing the story of Riley Osborne not trusting Ridge. Ridge is trying to gain the trust of Chase U. I'm not going to speak too much on it. Ridge Holland picks up the victory here. After the match, though, Ridge Holland, during the match, actually, Ridge Holland tries to use the steel steps on Riley Osborne, but Thea Hill ends up stopping him. But Ridge Holland picks up the victory here. After the match, though, Ridge Holland tries to shake Riley Osborne's hand. Riley Osborne ends up declining it, walks away from the ring, and ends up refusing to be on good terms with Ridge Holland, continuing the story of him not trusting Ridge Holland. Next, get a quick interview segment with the OC. Basically, they end up saying that they're going to keep on doing what they're doing and they want a title opportunity and they're not going to stop until they get it. And they're going to continue to attack Nathan Frazier and Axiom until they get their championship opportunity. Now, next, we get a segment with Oro Mensah. He gets attacked. We don't know who attacked him. Jakara Jade says it was not Lash Legend, Trick Williams. Lash ends up sticking up for her man. Ends up saying that it's not Trick. We're still curious to see who. They're still playing the story of who attacked Oro, who's attacking Metaphor. Is it Trick Williams? Is Lash Legend loyalty with Metaphor? Is it with Trick? They're playing up that story. Next, we get a match actually with Malik Idris versus the OC. Now, during this match, it was going well for Idris and Malik, but it was a point in the match, early in the match, where Idris ends up falling on Brinley Reese, which ends up having her to get taken all the way to backstage. The moment that happened, their bad luck starts to continue, and the OC ends up getting the upper hand. The match finishes with Idris goes for a top rope dive. He ends up getting a leg injury after Carl Anderson ends up avoiding the dive. He gets a leg injury. Carl Anderson takes advantage of it. The OC picks up the victory. They're still continuing the story of Idris and Malik and Brinley Reese continue to have their bad luck. They can't get a victory here. I like the story here overall. I'm just tired of it, to be honest with you, because it's the same thing, rinse and repeat over and over again. They keep doing the same storyline. Where it's kind of similar to Ridge Holland, which is kind of making me mad. They keep doing the same thing over and over again. They lose, but it's nothing happening. There's no story progression. It's just same thing happening over and over again. It gets very annoying and very repetitive. Hope they do something new, but it's getting very annoying seeing the same thing, though. After the match, though, out of nowhere, you see the OC celebrating, but then you see Nathan Frazier and Axiom are on the top ropes, and they end up jumping off the top rope and doing a drop kick off the top rope to Carl Anderson and the OC. They end up knocking him out the ring, and it basically ends up saying that they have their match at NXT Battleground, and at NXT Battleground is going to be the OC, the Good Brothers, versus Nathan Frazier and Axiom. That should be a fun match. I'm very excited for that match. Next, we get a quick little segment with Dante Chen and Lexis King. Dante Chen recently got called up from NXT Level Up. Now he's on the NXT roster. They showing a little vignette, showcasing him being the new call-up. Then Lexis King ends up ruining the party because this was a backstage segment in the locker room. Lexis King approaches him, ends up saying that, I don't know why you're celebrating a lucky win. You got lucky. That won't happen again. Dante Chen basically ends up saying that Dante Chen basically says that I could easily beat you again. That wasn't luck. Let's prove it tonight. So they end up having a match later on tonight. Next, get a quick segment with Trick Williams and Devon Evans. They was talking about their match against Gallus, which ends up being the main event. Then Sexyy Red comes in, showing her love and support. Then during the match, Devon Evans ends up asking, can she be ringside with them? And she agrees, so she would end up being ringside, and she ends up playing a very important role in the main event. Next, we get Roxanne Perez. She cuts a promo. She talks about the NXT Women's Championship, talks about how she's the one who had the most respect for it. She's the one that carried the championship with the most respect. She honors the women's NXT Championship. Then she starts talking about Ava Raine, starts complaining about her like she typically does, complains about how she's been disrespected, how it's taken too long for her to finally figure out who she's going to face in the Battleground, and how she doesn't feel respected as champion. Ava comes out, announces her opponent for NXT Battleground, and it's Jordynne Grace, the TNA Knockout Women's Champion. She would be the one facing Roxanne Perez at NXT Battleground, and that match should be a banger. I can't wait. I love this. I love WWE being able to work with other groups. I typically don't really make a big deal out of this, typically because AEW does this, but they do it all the time, so it's not special. I like it when companies do this, but you do it here and there. When you do it all the time, it ruins the it ruins how special it is. It's like WrestleMania. It's like if you do it's like WrestleMania 2 nights. The reason why WrestleMania 2 nights is special is because it's only for WrestleMania. If you do it for every pay-per-view, it's not special. Same thing. When you do it all the time, it's not special. It's the same thing with blood. Blood is special when it happens in the WWE. When it happens in AEW, it's not special. This is great. I love this. I'm excited. I loved her in the Royal Rumble. Can't wait to see her in a singles match. She's going to be on NXT next week as well because something happens later on in the show that's going to happen. This should be a banger, especially with Jordan Grace. Jordan Grace has that very muscular build with Roxanne Perez being like a smaller opponent. I think that could work perfectly. I can't wait. That match should be entertaining. Roxanne Perez is obviously going to win, but very interested to see how that match plays out though. Next, we get a little vignette segment with Eddie Thorpe. He was around some fire or whatever. He didn't really say anything, but not gonna speak too much on it. I don't really care about this because with Eddie Thorpe, they keep doing this thing where they show him, but then he disappears. He has a feud, disappears, has a feud, disappears. I don't understand what they're doing with him. I don't understand what his contract is, but he keeps showing up in WWE, has a feud, wins the feud, then disappears, and it keeps happening. And he keeps winning feuds that he shouldn't win. Like the Dijak feud he had, he should never won that because once he won it, he disappeared. But Dijak, the guy who's been on TV, who constantly stayed on TV, kept losing. Like, I don't understand. I don't get it. It's like they value him because he doesn't lose matches, but they don't value him enough to keep him on TV. I don't know what the situation is, but they got to stop doing that with Eddie Thorpe, though. Next, get a Chase U segment. Andre Chase, Thea Hale, Riley Osborne, and Duke Hudson. They're all talking about Ridge Holland. Riley Osborne still doesn't trust Ridge Holland. He's still upset. Duke Hudson actually agrees with Riley Osborne. Ends up saying that he sees what he sees in Ridge Holland and he wants to talk to Riley alone. Thea Hale gets frustrated, ends up saying that she can't deal with this. She has a match and she can't deal with this right now. She ends up leaving and then Andre Chase is by himself. Now it looks like they're teasing a potential breakup between Chase U, which I'm all for because Chase U hasn't really been that entertaining for me personally. I didn't really like the whole storyline of them going broke and then them being ripped back up. Really didn't like that storyline, to be honest. Outside of JC Jane, she was fine, but really didn't like that storyline. I feel like it dragged for a bit. And they haven't really been as over as they once was. They're still over, but not as they once was a couple months ago. And I feel like it's time to break them up anyway. I think it's time for them to do their own thing. Now, also too, I'm kind of over this Ridge Holland shit, to be honest with you, because it's so annoying. It's the same thing over and over again. And plus, it's like they have no direction. Now, what they could do is have Ridge Holland be the reason why they're breaking up and have him be like the catalyst of why they're breaking up, going their separate ways. Don't know if they go that direction, but I hope it is because, man, this Ridge Holland storyline is so boring. It needs to end very fast. Next, get Lola Vice versus Ariana Grace. Not going to speak too much on it. Lola Vice wins. We knew how that was going to work. But after the match, though, Lola Vice gets on the microphone. She ends up saying that she's going to tap out Shayna Baszler or she's going to she's going to pin Shayna Baszler. And she ends up calling her a bitch. After that, Shayna Baszler comes out. Security breaks them apart. They try to brawl. They try to fight each other, but security breaks them apart. That's basically in the segment there. This was solid. This was solid, building up the tension, the rivalry before NXT Battleground. Can't wait for the match. The NXT Underground match for these two should be great. Next, get a quick little segment with Carly Bright. She made her debut last week, if I'm not mistaken. She was watching her little vignette segment through the TV. It was Natalya, Carmen Petrovich, and someone else. Izzy Dane comes in, interrupts, basically makes fun of Carly Bright. Then Natalya tries to sticks up for her. She ends up making fun of Natalya. Then Carmen Petrovich ends up saying that she would handle Izzy Dane. Izzy Dane ends up saying something. She says something slick like, you got confidence or something because you won your first match. Something along those lines. Carmen got mad. They argue and then they end up brawling. And then next week they're going to have a match. They're continuing the story of, Carmen Petrovich being this more aggressive woman, not being a pushover, and Izzy Dane continuing her heel-like shenanigans. I like Izzy Dane. I think she's a very natural, charismatic heel. Interested to see how this goes. Interested to see what they do with Carly Bright because they need more women on that roster. Next, we get a quick second. Actually, I'm not even going to mention it. I was going to mention the No Quarter Catch crew, but to be honest, I don't think it's that important. Next, we get Dante Chen versus Lexis King. Not going to speak too much on this match. Dante Chen ends up winning because this was also a quick match. He ends up winning during a roll-up in. He picks up the victory here. But after this, though, Lexis King ends up attacking Dante Chen, ends up taking him to the outside, and he ends up ripping the padding on the ground to reveal the concrete, hits his finisher on the concrete, and that's the end of the segment there. I'm interested to see what the end goal is here, because Dante Chen beat Lexis King twice. I don't see a reason to have a third match. And also, too, now I'm not the biggest fan of Dante Chen because I think he's okay in the ring. As a character, there's not much, but he is over with the crowd. I'm not going to deny that. He is over with the crowd. So I'm very interested to see how this plays out, though. I don't know what the end goal is here because you already lost twice, so I don't know what can really happen. But, yeah, I'm somewhat interested in this feud, but I don't know how far this could really go. You lost twice to the same guy, so I'm very interested to see how this goes. Next, there was a Sean Spears vignette, but I'm not going to speak too much on it because I don't understand it personally. I don't. Actually, it makes sense, actually, because it leads to the next thing. Sean Spears had a vignette basically talking about, his upbringing, his goals, his upcoming to NXT, his, what his friends with Fallon Henley and Brooks Jensen, talk about him being with them, then them breaking up, talk about his overall upcoming in NXT and what's his goals. Then Sean Spears was watching it, and actually watching it, he ends up saying, what a poor lost soul. Then he gets interviewed, and he basically ends up saying that he's trying to lead the misguided NXT young talent, and he's trying to help them reach their full potential. And then he ends up saying that there's an NXT talent that has a lot of potential, but he can't reach it, and he wants to help them get there. So I'm very interested to see what they do here. Very interested to see who's that NXT person that he's talking to. I like Sean Spears. He reminds me of Karrion Kross to a degree. Like Karrion Kross has a similar thing where he tries to help people turn them into that darker side of themselves to a degree. I'm assuming it's going to be Josh Briggs because he was watching the Josh Briggs vignette and then he called him a lost soul. So I'm very interested to see what they do with Sean Spears. They need to use him more because he just disappeared after Stand and Deliver. So I'm very interested to see what they do with Sean Spears though. Next, we get Kalani Jordan versus Ren Sinclair. This is the last match of the qualifying match for NXT Battleground for the women's ladder match for the NXT North American Women's Championship. Kalani Jordan picks up the victory here. So the ladder match will be Sol Ruka, Lash Legend, Fallon Henley, Kalani Jordan, Jada Parker, and Michin. This is going to be a banger. It's going to be a banger, and I don't know who's winning this match, bro. I really don't know who's going to win that match. I'm very interested to see who wins that match. Because part of me feels like they're going to go with a babyface there. But the only babyface in this match is Sol Ruka and Kalani Jordan. But I don't know if they're going to put the title on Kalani Jordan. Sol Ruka I can see. The thing is, I don't want to see Sol Ruka as champion because she's a good in-ring performer. But as a character worker, I feel like other women could do better with that. So I'm interested to see who wins that. But it should be good. It should be a great match though. Now next, get a little segment with a new NXT call-up from NXT Level Up. Stevie Turner. She's complaining about Ava Rae about not getting her opportunity. She's talking about Jordan Grace while she gets her opportunity at Roxanne Perez. Then Jordan Grace comes in. She ends up saying that you're right. You do deserve an opportunity. So next week, it'll be her and Stevie Turner in the ring one-on-one to prove themselves. So next week, Stevie Turner will face Jordan Grace. So we'll see a little bit of what Jordan Grace can do in a one-on-one setting. Now we get to the main event. Not going to speak too much on it. It's Trick Williams, Javon Evans versus Gallus. They're getting their payback from last week. This was a decent match. But Sexyy Red ends up coming out with them. She was ringside. But towards the end of the match, though, Joe Coffey tries to take the NXT championship and tries to use it. But Sexyy Red was right there. She ends up taking the championship away from him. This gave Trick Williams the upper hand. Trick Williams ends up hitting his running knee, picks up the victory. After the match, though, Lash Legend comes out. She comes out, and she ends up asking the question earlier because Jakara Jade earlier wanted her to ask Trick, did he attack Noam Dar? She ends up asking him, did he attack Noam Dar? Before Trick can answer it, the lights cut off, cut back on, and then someone attacks Trick Williams from behind. Now I was very confused who attacked him. Then on commentary they end up saying it's Ethan Page. Ethan Page from AEW. Now Vic Joseph almost said AEW, but he stopped himself. But I don't know much about Ethan Page, but I have heard some good stuff about him. I heard that he's charismatic and he's good in the ring. Now, I don't know what they do with this angle, but I'm very interested to see what they do here because the NXT main event scene needs more talent because, man, after Mello, Ilya, and Braun Breaker left, man, that main event scene is very outside of Trick, man, it needs some work. Same thing with the Heritage Cup. So this is going to be very interesting to see how this plays out. I'm very interested to see what Ethan Page does. This is a good way to use him because this gives him good heel heat, so he's automatically going to get booed, especially since he's going against Trick. Because originally we thought Noam Dar was going to face Trick at NXT Battleground, but it may be Ethan Page. So very interested to see how this plays out. This episode, it was kind of mid for the most part. It wasn't that good. They was really trying to promote Sexyy Red for the most part. Nothing too major happened. But I am interested to see how the story progresses though. I am excited for NXT Battleground, but not going to speak too much on this episode though. But you guys let me know what you guys thought of this episode of NXT. Let me know what you guys thought. Let me know what you guys thought of what happened on tonight's show. But yeah, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. But yeah, that's it.